There are a lot of good relics in Leagues II, but the question is what you need them to solve. We go through each tier, what each relic enables, and where one choice might make more sense for your league than another. And the reason I want Golden Touch is that it solves agility and thieving I think is just a very interesting support skill in this league because of all the new thieving changes that came out. It also provides decent enough GP and prayer solves along the way too, which I think is important when you look at the league. And we just finished talking about how GP isn't going to be that important for this, but the main thing that I wanted to kind of just hone in on was just how much about thieving has changed in the last year. And looking at all of that, it was between this and Endless Harvest for me in terms of what the relic choice was going to be. And when I started looking at the fact that this might also give me herbs and potion ingredients, that brought this up the list, plus all of the various thieving things out there like the Menaphos Lampstall, the Zenaris trinkets, and just so on and so forth. So many interesting thieving things after the thieving update last year. So Golden Touch is my first relic, and I think anybody who is wanting a thieving first league is ultimately going to end up picking Golden Touch.
Use your relics. When you unlock a relic, go hard on that relic, right? Like, because that's the overpowered
picking
thing
the relic
for, and two,
and you're not using it, there might have been a better pick for you.
The community pick is like, those tier 100 tools are so good at a level 1. Every single time you hit a rock, every single time you hit a tree, you're going to get a resource at level 1, which is nuts. Like, with the League's XP multipliers, like, you're not going to have to stop to, like, level your smithing. The problem is, like, a lot of the other ones is you got to level smithing to level any of your gathering skills, because you got to make your own tools. Like, we're not getting dragon tool drops. We don't, unless you're in, like, Demonheim for your skilling, you need to have the smithing level to make your own tools. And so, like, those tier 100 tools, ignoring the doubled resources and the resource bag and everything else that this gives, I am so alarmed that Survivalist has not been more popular for just, like the speed you get resources at. That said, I'm picking Endless Harvest because your boy wants to AFK.
Because I was going to say the issue that I see with the Survivalist tools is that they start to fall off at the higher end. And
are they augmentable?
No.
Yeah.
And the ore in the wood
Given
box
most of us aren't going to be able to get augmented tools, but still
more than the Survivalist bag we're going to be given if you choose Survivalist.
But, like, that 10% chance to upgrade something to the next tier and infinite AFK means that I can be at work and, like, just leave my phone closed on a table, walk away, take care of all the stuff I need to for work. Whenever I come back to the computer, just touch the screen once, and just mining Phasmatite, I'll just get a bunch of Bainite. Yeah, and mining Animica, I'll just get a bunch of...
And what you have highlighted, the 100% stamina while mining, I think that is probably... And the archaeology time sprite thing, I think that's probably the big reason to pick Endless Harvest. And if thieving wasn't in the position that it is in now after the 120 update, I would be with you. I would be with you on Endless Harvest.
I agree with that.
I think archaeology is the problem. The problem with this is that it doesn't solve archaeology. And that's the other thing with Survivalist. The 50% chance to automatically restore an artifact completely solves archaeology.
Yeah, that's fair.
Double archaeology mats plus restoring 50% of them automatically, so they take 0 resources, is better than the archaeology relic. Like, you will have an easier time training archaeology than you would with the actual archaeology relic, probably. And archaeology is so slow.
So in tier 2, we have Animal Wrangler, which is the hunter-coded relic in that it also banks fish when fishing and hunter loot when hunting. And I think that if you are wanting a fishing and hunter solve, this is probably the way to go. But I think hunter is a fast enough skill, and when it comes to managing the ingredients behind it, it's really not that big of a deal. One of the special things that comes from this is the idea of getting a random herb seed, tree seed, or fruit tree seed when catching a fish or hunting. So if you have Endless Harvest, you can kind of just pair these together, and there's your seeds and whatnot solved. The reason for this is a bit of an interesting one, because in past leagues, both on OS and RS3, I've always wanted to take the relic that is this equivalent that provides you the herbs and effectively makes Herblore a cakewalk. But I've never gone down the path of a setup that has allowed such a thing to happen. So I'm going for it this time because, like I said, I think angling skills where you can get to 120 easily and maybe 200 mils is important. And, you know, in that regard, Herblore and summoning, difficult to do in that vein relatively early on, minus Stream of Aya, I think makes sense for me. And plus the additions that Divine Druid brought for summoning are a nice thing to have, in that you effectively have infinite summoning pouches and summoning shards. Charms are supercharged in the amount that you get. And this was that relic you were mentioning, Zerdones, a little while ago, that whenever you convert memories, you have a 10% chance to get a random porter or divine charge deposited directly to your bank. So I'm going Divine Druid in this case, even though I could make a case for both Animal Wrangler and Superheated on my end.
I'm going with Divine Druid as well. The Herblore is one of the most important ways to boost your combat with overloads and potions. And then summoning is nice, but this isn't a big summoning thing. And then unlocking the potion recipes is the big part of it. Once I saw that, I was an insta choice. This was one of the easiest tiers for me to decide on.
Well, that's a good segue because I'm leaning Superheated.
Okay, tell us why. I've been waiting for somebody to...
Because I see smithing as being one of my major important skills. As Thaxi said, taking Golden Touch, you don't get the tools, so making tools is going to be very important. I'm planning to go melee gear-wise, so making armor is very important. Plus, I mean, fire making is not hard, but it's a pain in the ass, so making that easier will be nice. I mean, like free infernal ads, essentially, and free, what's the one that does the cooking when you fish? Whichever one that is, like that's also very nice.
Bait and switch,
yeah. Free bait and switch. Like cooking isn't hard, but it's personally, in the main game, it's my lowest skill, so having that for free will be very nice. So it solves a lot of things for me.
I mentioned earlier that I'm going to need to do tools and make my own tools.
Yep.
Triple smithing process just means triple XP. Max heat just means I can AFK, space triple XP.
Yep.
Like while smelting bars, I can like more at a time. And double the bars when I smelt. Like it is just gonna make my life easier.
So much easier.
Also the incense stick thing is really nice. It's effectively a 100% solve for 200 mil. Given that I already have Endless Harvest, so I can fully AFK everything, it is a full 100% 200 mil solve with just those two relics for all the gathering skill, or at least like fishing, mining, wood cutting, fire making, cooking, smithing. Like it's just like all of those are just fully AFK. Like that is just 6 skills that are important.
Moving on to tier 3, and they did something very different this time. Tier 3 is normally the teleport tier, and rather than providing teleports this time, these ones actually provide benefits in addition to the teleports, because as we all know, and we talked about with the construction episode, teleportation and getting around this world is actually kind of solved.
Not hard.
So we have, starting at the bottom, we have Voidwalker, which is the abyssal conduit that basically combines a bunch of jewelry teleports into one item that you can use.
It's basically free passage of the abyss.
Yeah, free passage of the abyss. And
it's all the stuff that people would have on a passage of the abyss. So.
It will give you void shards every 3 minutes, which will always contain a clue scroll. So if you're looking for clues, you might want this. But you also get a roll from the following categories of invention materials, ancient summoning pouches, blessed fire spirit rewards, crystal essence, divination materials, divine geodes, dragon equipment, and golden hawk feathers. The issue here with Voidwalker for me is that things like the invention materials are just not reliable enough to choose Voidwalker as a choice. So I'm not going with that one.
The drop table is very big, which is very useful, but it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it makes it so that getting like a ecliptic component or a biting component really isn't that common.
Unlikely. Like, actually unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be
Not
better
just
off
rare,
with
but-
scavenging.
I'm not taking Assassin's Insight because, like I mentioned earlier, I plan on training Slayer through Reaper tasks. The only reason that Assassin's Insight might come up on this list for me is if there's a major task in the desert that involves completing the Slayer Codex, because Assassin's Insight guarantees you to capture the Slayer monsters into the Ushabtis 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It also lets you pick your task, and being on task is double catch. Well, would be double catch chance, but I guess that doesn't matter. Never mind, ignore me.
So, as people might be guessing, I am taking Nature's Network, which is
The farming guy takes the relic. That means he doesn't have to farm.
well, there's
Yes.
nothing else to really pick. This one makes the crops grow instantly. It provides me an extra source of herbs, and it provides the teleports to the spirit trees, the fairy rings, and the farming patches. Like I said, I mean, I could take the other two, but they just don't really speak to me in that way. And again, I'm looking again at another skill in terms of getting to 120s and 200 mils. Nature's Network can help that for farming. Moving on to tier 4, and I'm just going to start running down this list of tier 4 relics because there's one that everybody's going to pick because it's the shiny object in the room. First Crystal's Grace is an Omni Tiara that grants you unlimited teleports to all rune crafting altars in your unlocked regions. It also gives you the ability to unlock all the magic spells across all spell books. But when I last looked into this, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, you still needed the ability to go and unlock, say, a lunar spellbook or an ancient spellbook for this, right?
I'm not sure that. I don't think that's true, because if that's true, then that benefit is kind of useless.
Okay.
Because lunar diplomacy will be auto-unlocked, will be auto-completed, so will Desert Treasure if you pick those two regions.
Oh,
Shane, War's
okay.
Grimoire. If you have
And
Tyranny,
War's
you have
Grimoire
the
will let
Tyranny
you.
book. But War's Grimoire it's auto unlocked with the tier 3 or 4 or whatever combat blessings. All of War's reward stores. So you'll have War's Grimoire by default to switch them as needed.
Okay.
I think.
So it just unlocks all the spells then. But this is also a rune crafting solve in that anytime you're skilling, it provides you crystal essence, which is stackable and can be used in place of pure and impure essence. So you just stack it up, go to a rune crafting altar, and spam click. It also is your necromancy solve if you're going necromancy to do rituals, in that it makes it so that multiply attraction and protection glyphs are always active. Light sources and glyphs do not require ingredients to create, and burying a bone at an altar will also grant you additional XP to the tune of a dragon bone. So this is another semi-prayer solve here. Then we have Antiquarian, which unlocks all archaeology relics. Archaeology materials are automatically sent to the material storage container or bank if full. You get 1,000 monolith energy. You got a free soil screener with the archaeology journal. You always have fixate. Lore pages are more common. You get 10x chronotes. Restoring an artifact costs half as many materials. Ancient caskets are rewarded when completing a collection. And you'll always have 100% focus when you receive an artifact or lore page. And divine geodes can be found when excavating, and they contain archaeology materials. So that's an archaeology solve if you want that. The other thing to mention about transmutation is that I can get a stack of porters, right? And then I can just go mine a low-level ore, like iron or bronze even, okay? And then I can transmute that up to whatever I need. And that's how I do smithing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good general resource solve. Yeah, primal ores, yep.
And
it's also seeds. You can go master harvesting, collect a bunch of apple seeds and make them all into elder trees.
Exactly. So as much as I didn't want to do it again, I think I'm going to do transmutation again. Specifically for those high level resources, and even the necromancy stuff that's on this list here too, because it transmutes inks, mementos, and
ink,
necroplasms.
mementos, plasm, and candles. It's
Yeah.
very useful, especially since the shop will be infinite, so you can get just infinite everything. But as I'm thinking about it, I mean, the magic solve is still a factor, but
Time runes.
most of the resources I'm going to get, or I'm going to get from my regions, because I'm taking Antiquarian, so I have time runes. I'm taking Tyrannin, so I have Animica and incandescent energy. And I'm taking Wilderness, so I have primal ores. Really, the only resource, I mean, I'm going to get
Wood.
seeds from everything else, right? Wood is the big one.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I'm missing is Eternal
Wooden
Magic.
seeds.
Moving on to tier 5 then. This one is an interesting tier. I wasn't thinking Clue Connoisseur was going to be so high, but lo and behold, Clue Connoisseur is here. What they're effectively doing is they're giving you the Globetrotter outfit and making it recharge faster, and that's how clues are solved. I'm not a clue person. I took clues last league. I didn't have fun with it. I estimated the amount of points that were going to be there, and I got about half of them, and there's less clue points this league, so I'm not taking Clue Connoisseur.
If we had puzzle skips, it would be great.
Yeah.
If we had an infinite puzzle skip, that would suddenly make that relic really, really, really good, even as it is now. Even without infinite teleports, even without infinite charges, without, like, it would be really good if you had a puzzle skipper in there, but it doesn't. No infinite puzzle skips, not worth it. What Devout does is that it'll give you XP in the skills that they skill boost.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to train, like, I think somebody made the good excuse of, like, the Abyssal Stalker, I think it is, that does thieving and agility boosts. That's 100k an hour passive thieving and agility XP just by having it following you. So
which is pretty big.
Wanted agility, which is not nothing. It's not nothing, especially, again, for those, like, early levels that are kind of obnoxious. You'll pass them really fast.
Devout, which is a summoning familiar that's permanent, that has 32 inventory slots, but also lets you note and unnote things. And
access the bank.
Access the bank.
The familiars giving 500% more damage is nutty.
Definitely.
But this time I'm taking Production Master, which is the relic that provides you the Brooch of the Spirits, will periodically spawn all the things like Saren's Spirits, Divine Blessings, provide you unlimited urns, make it so food doesn't burn, and most skilling activities are all processed at once, and provides a +6 boost to construction, cooking, crafting, herblore, fletching, and smithing. And like I said, the reason I chose this one is because the past 2 leagues that I played, both OS and RS3, I took the Clue Relic, and after I finished with, those clue points, I was wishing I had Production Master. So this time, it's Production Master.
Just take Production Master.
No questions asked. So,
I am here to hate on Production Master solely because it is the boring option. It is unquestionably possibly the most powerful relic in the entire league. Just as a points farm goes, it has you can fit so many buffs in this baby, like Smack's Hood of Car, like all of the skilling stations and the urns and but it doesn't change your gameplay loop. You're powerful, you're cool, but you're doing the same things.
Yeah,
it doesn't do something different or new.
Last time this relic was up against Perkfection, and nobody took that because everybody took Perkfection, and there was always going to be a question
Perkfection was way too powerful
of how Banker's Note fit in RS3, and the use cases for it are still slim, but but adding the summoning familiar bits to it, they do add a bit of specialty to it. So speaking of Perkfection,
passive
that
XP,
again comes in at tier 6, severely nerfed from last time.
Severe. It was way too strong last time.
Infinite components is a problem. Infinite components in gizmos is a problem.
So this time it acts as an XP capacitor that can store 10x max charges and charges 10 times faster. It also has 2 gizmo slots that are applied to in addition to any equipped perks. If you're using an augmented item, teleports to invention benches,
cool.
Provides 10x more materials when disassembling, machines run faster, machine capacity increased, helpful perks will trigger more often, and all the blueprints are unlocked. No.
And augmented items don't use charge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a hater here. The only thing that's good about this, and it is very good, is helpful perks trigger 20% more often.
Yeah. This one's a no for me. I'm going to be rejuvenating at this tier. In terms of my rejuvenation picks, I kind of alluded to that. I have 3 that I'm considering. The first one is Antiquarian. The second one is Superheated. And the third one is Endless Harvest.
Well, you kept talking about needing a smithing solve, so I feel like Superheated would be the play for you.
Like, if I get to tier 6 and I feel like smithing is going to be a real problem, we go Superheated. If I feel like archaeology is going to be the problem, we go Antiquarian. Or if the gathering skills are lagging behind, we go Endless Harvest, or maybe even Survivalist, thinking about it now in the tools, depending on where we're at. So there's a number of rejuvenation choices there at that tier, and I'm just going to take it as we go and see what's going to get me the most points once I'm at tier 6. And then we get to tier 7, the combat tier. Infernal Fire, which is an execute that makes it so that Deathmark will apply 100% of the time when a critter reaches 20% of its life points. If it has more than 30k, it's said that each tick it will receive 30k damage and gradually tick itself down. It also grants a 18.7 boost to all the combat styles and 15 prayer bonus. The Naragi Edict is the survivability one. Heals you 10,000 life points 4 times every 4.2 seconds. Boosts your combat stats to 255 and revives you if you die, as well as granting 300 armor, 14 to each of the combat styles, 1,500 life points, and 15 prayer bonus. And then Oceanic Faith, for anybody who is going crit, this one gives you 50% or plus 50 prayer bonus and 0.2 critical strike and 0.2 base ability damage per prayer point. But the star of the show, in my opinion, is it makes it so that protection prayers and deflect curses block 100% of the damage, and act as if Soul Split is active. So I'm taking Oceanic Faith.
Yeah. I want to quick debunk Naragi Edict a bit. I've heard people talking about having 14,000 armor, which is the correct number. More than 10 times, like 11 times what our armor is at 99 defense, just passively from defense level. The problem is, I don't think it actually works like that. If it's a temporary boost, if it's coded as a temporary boost to defense, if it was 255 out of 255, then it would work like that. But defense boosts don't increase your passive armor.
Right.
At least they don't in the in-game tooltip, in the hero interface. If you have an overload running or something else, your armor doesn't go above the value you calculate at 99. So if this is 255 over 99, if it's a temporary boost, you don't get that 11 times armor value. So it won't be big bashes. You won't get the 50,000 damage bash. Just kind of. The problem with this is you have to activate it in advance. The return to life is so cool if it was passive, but if you have to know when you're going to die and then have enough time to activate this button. Otherwise, it is just a damage boost once every 90 seconds.
I am intrigued why, for the Eternal Faith, you said it's 30k ticks. I thought they were removing the damage cap, so I don't know why it wouldn't just.
It's Deathmark.
I think
saw
Deathmark
100
is
coded.
I saw 100k on the stream. I think that might be outdated. I think it was.
Okay, so they might have.
I think it procs like the insta kill death thing and does 100k damage. I think every tick.
Okay, that does sound like very good for like some of the high enrage like Archclay Core. Like, oh, all of a sudden his 1 million HP, I only need to do 700,000 of it. Like that's not bad.
It's like think Angel of Death. You get to skip enrage phase. I think if I understand how this works, it would mean you have to do 20% less damage to push Virago. In P5 and 10. I think this, or 11. I think this is like, it's a skip for the last phase of a Masket. It's a skip for the last phase of Zamorak. It's a skip for the Zaros phase at regular Nex. It's a skip for like a lot of bosses that have enraged phases. This is really good for. It absolutely kills you. You cannot even bring this item in your inventory to Yakamaru because you will not be able to win.
But a lot of those bosses that you just listed, though, group bosses. So if I go to Zami and some of my teammates have that, I get it for free, basically. Still.
You get to be everybody's favorite group PVM buddy if you pick this. But if you're looking to really hardcore AFK, us 990 prayer points with like this, if you're capping like 98, 90, like high 90s in your prayer bonus or higher, you can actually get like where your prayer is draining, even with all your prayers active, 1 point every 6 seconds. It's 10 points a minute, 600 points an hour. You only need to refill your prayer once every hour and a half.
So are you taking Iceanic Faith then?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the protection prayers alone are enough. The extra
it's
base
really
damage
good.
and crit chance that are multiplied by everything else are just a fat stat stick. And the prayer bonus itself is just a good quality of life for my AFK adventures today.
Fair enough. Well,
Yep.
there's our relics. Hopefully everybody took something away from that in terms of what we were wanting to accomplish there. And, we're going to, of course, be checking back throughout the league in terms of how this is all going to line up.